Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today with us we have Zorin OS 18, especially the Pro Edition. Our team Zorin was very kind enough to lend me a Pro copy for this video specifically, and I'm going to intend to do a deep dive into Zorin OS today. So without wasting further time, let's just dive right in. Okay, welcome to Zorin OS 18, and by the way, I have made a few new changes to my setup. So right now I'm using a Elgato Game Capture Neo. So this is the live feed that you're going to see, all with animations and everything. This is no longer running inside a virtual machine. You guys are going to experience the overall experience of what it's like to run a Linux on bare metal. Without wasting further time, what is Zorin OS 18 about and why is this special? And there is a certain event going on today on October 14th that's going to put Zorin OS on its pedestal. So what's happening? As it turns out, Windows 10 is reaching its end of life, or EOL, today in most parts of the world. So that leaves an estimated 240 million computers that do not meet the requirements to run Windows 11. Now, there have been hacks or workarounds by different people, but Microsoft constantly patches them, so those are not really reliable, even if you try to install or use Windows that way. Okay, and if you don't want your computer to turn to e-waste, and if you don't want to throw your perfectly fine computer, what you can do is you can go ahead and install Linux. Today, we're going to talk about how Zorin OS 18 can save your computer. You don't have to throw it away, at least for a couple of years, until your old laptop dies of age, I guess. And to be extremely fair to the entire world of Linux, Linux is going to save your computer. It's not specifically Zorin OS, but what Zorin OS does, especially Zorin OS 18, tries to make Windows users feel perfectly at home without ever having to install Windows again or look at Windows again, unless they have like very specific software needs, but that's besides the point. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into Zorin OS. Now, this is a stunning new look for Zorin OS. As you can see, everything seems rounded, and I have not installed Zorin OS right now. We're going to go ahead and try to install Zorin OS. We're actually not going to do the full installation. We're just going to show you the steps. So let's just dive right in. So first, it's going to ask you to enter the language. So this is going to be English. We can hit continue. Then English US, that you can test your keyboard layout here. So that's cool. This is standard stuff if you have installed Linux before. And then it does ask you to connect to wireless. I guess these are from my neighbors. I don't want to connect to a Wi-Fi network right now. And we can proceed with a normal installation, with a minimal installation, or we can just go ahead with other options. For example, you can just go ahead and click on download updates while installing Zorin OS. This saves some time after the installation. I'm not sure why this is grayed out. And you obviously do have the option to install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi drivers and other media formats. And you can also not participate in the census, but if you do, it's fine. You get to remain anonymous, and they do mention this. So, this has to be the truth. Now, I think if you have already downloaded a very hefty ISO of 7.6 gigabytes, you should just go ahead with the normal installation instead of the minimal installation, which does not include all of the different apps like the productivity software, utilities, and it only has the core utilities and the premium desktop layout. So you can go ahead and hit continue. So now it asks you for the installation type. So this computer currently has a Windows boot manager on it. So like I already had Windows 10, like a very old installation of Windows 10. So it asks you to install Zorin OS alongside the Windows boot manager, or you can completely erase the disk and install Zorin OS. You can also do something like extended partitions. You can partition your drives yourself. So you can click on something else, and then you can go ahead and I think it'll give you gparted, and then over there you can mess around with the partitions, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to select erase the disk and install Zorin OS. And if I click install now, it says that these are the partitions. So partition 1 is the ESP or the EFI system partition, and then number 2 is the ext4. This is going to be your root and home partition, so all in one. You can go ahead and click on continue, and then it'll ask you for your time zone. You can click over here, Kolkata, and then continue. It's going to ask you for your username and password, and then It's funny how you can't go back from here, but I guess it doesn't really concern us for the rest of the video. You can go ahead and type your name in, and then your computer's name. You're going to have to pick a username, and then you can choose a password. Again, this is just for show. I'm not really going to log in. So what I am going to do is I'm going to not hit continue. Maybe, I mean, it doesn't give me the option to go back. I really would have wanted to have a back option. I'm not sure why this is grayed out, but I guess we're going to assume that Zorin OS 18 has been installed, and we're going to continue on with the tour. Okay, so now that we're done with the installation, let's just give a basic tour of the Zorin OS desktop. So as you can see, this time around, we do get a beautiful redesign. So things look very curvy and rounded off. So for example, this is the start button. As you can see, all the corners are beautifully rounded. We do get a multitude of categories. For example, inside utilities, you get advanced network configuration, disk usage analyzer, disks, and all that good stuff. If we just go back a bit and go to internet, I can see Brave web browser. We have by default Remina, Newsflash, web apps. This is a new feature. We're going to talk about that just a little bit later. You do get the user profile. So this is the live session user. I haven't actually installed, like I said. And then again, these are your home desktop frequently visited folders, and then software settings and Zorin appearance. You're going to find shortcuts to all the three over here. And then you can log out of this computer, or you can shut it down. You can restart it, do whatever you want to. Again, you can type to search. Search, extremely powerful since this is based off of GNOME. If you type terminal, it shows you the terminal, and then it also gives you other characters. I mean, it gives you anything matching with that word terminal. So this is an incredibly powerful search function that you would fall in love with. Now, this is basically GNOME, so this is fantastic. Okay, and we do get rounded panels this time around, and these are translucent, so they look absolutely beautiful. You have your dynamic workspaces. So if I do this, if I do a 3-finger swipe up, I can go to different workspaces. I could do this. So these are the two workspaces. So for example, this one, and if you click here, you can go to the other workspaces, and it shows you that this is the one that's active. I believe the icon is a little bit not correct, but it's okay, no biggie. We do get the language settings. So this is set to English United States by default. And then you can also go to the keyboard layout, interact with the keyboard settings, and you do also get your power and volume buttons together. So this is so people who have used GNOME are going to find it very familiar. So you do have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. I love the way that these buttons are highlighted. If you see, we have a subtle shift of gradients in the colors, and that's really cool. This is the button to take a screenshot. You can open settings from here, turn off your computer. Again, this is the place for increasing or decreasing your volume. And then again, the place where you can change your brightness. This is running on my laptop, so it does have a brightness slider. If this probably was in a virtual machine, it wouldn't show up over here at all. And then again, you do get your power mode. So you can click on the arrow and then change it to performance mode, which is good. Nightlight, you can enable that. I'm not sure if nightlight is going to come across in the video, but it should turn everything yellow. And then you can also enable dark style. Dark style, I think, is going to look absolutely fantastic for Zorin OS. And oh my God, just look at that wallpaper change. I love the stars, man. I have always been a very big fan of how the wallpaper changes, and this comet just coming in on the right hand side of the screen, the beautiful stars and this beautiful night sky and the mountain in the foreground. And then you do get your start menu. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. And then files, let's just open files, give it a few seconds, and then this looks absolutely incredible. Speaking of files, we do get a ton of upgrades. So we have a new sidebar, and you can also click on this button, the three. This is the hamburger menu, I suppose, and then you can go to new window. You can open new tabs, change the icon sizes, and you can also go to preferences to set a couple of things. So you can sort folders before files, which I like to have it on, which is the case by default. And then you also get a couple of other options, so you can go through that when you're testing Zorin OS out for yourself. And then you do also get the option to search. So here you can search inside the current folder, and then you can also click here to change the view. Again, this is a list view, that's a grid view. And then you can also change the sorting over here, and you do also get the minimize, maximize, and cross buttons just like Windows. So they really go out of their way to make people feel at home with Zorin OS who are coming from Windows. Windows refugees, you have a home over here, and I do not want you to go away. Okay, this is a beautiful place for you guys to be, and you can stay here for as long as you want to. Let's go back to the light theme, because I think this is a bit lighthearted for the video, and I'm going to continue on with the tour. So you do also get your calendar and timings. Again, this is pretty much standard GNOME stuff. Do not disturb notifications, and then your calendar, and you can add world clocks and set your weather location. So that's pretty standard stuff for GNOME. Remember how I talked about Zorin OS trying to make Windows users feel at home? So not only do they include the minimize, maximize, and cross buttons, what they also do is if you just go ahead and pull this to the top, they give you all the different options, so you can snap it to the left, to the right, to the upper left corner, right, bottom, and even these options. Man, look at these options. They are incredible. So this not only, I think it does not only mimic Windows 11, it actually is really handy. I mean, if you're copying something, and I mean, copying an idea is like copying a painting. You can't copy a painting unless you really have that talent yourself. So I think Zorin OS team has done a fantastic job, and this is going to be absolutely useful for a lot of people. And as you can see, the dynamic sidebar, it just disappeared because the width is less, and then it just dynamically reacted to that space that it had. And I think the animations are very fluid, and they absolutely look gorgeous. Next up, we do get a couple of improvements in the settings app as well. So let's just go ahead and open settings. Okay, and as you can see, I had a really hard time getting my Elgato system to work. So this is the second monitor. I'm using the display output as a second monitor, which is the primary display. Settings, again, pretty standard stuff. You do get your system at the bottom, and this is GNOME. So you do get software updates, upgrade Zorin OS. You do get all that good stuff. You get region and language, date and time, users, and about. So if you go to about, okay, that took a second. So this says that it is Zorin OS 18 Pro, and I'm running it on my HP notebook. This is a really old laptop, but this is what got me through my college and university years. So I'm really proud of this machine, and it got my first job as well. We do get privacy and security, so different things like connectivity, screen lock, automatic screen lock, location access, file history and trash, and firewall. You do get a ton of accessibility settings. GNOME accessibility settings are actually fantastic, and what you can do is you can just go ahead and enable this, so it'll actually pop up on your panel, and you can have your go-to options. So even if you are somebody who doesn't actually need these settings, some of them can be pretty helpful in different times, so you can just go ahead and look through them if you want to. Then you have printers, color, keyboard, pretty much standard stuff. One of the best things about this app place is the appearance. Okay, so appearance is where you get a ton of new wallpapers to check out, and I believe they have some really good wallpapers this time around. Man, I always have a hard time picking out the thumbnail for the video, but I think that's a first world problem. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's just go ahead and pick something else. This hills with a lake. That's pretty good. I love these wallpapers, man. I don't really remember which of these are new. I remember seeing this wallpaper before. This is new to me, so this looks pretty good. Pretty good, man. It looks like it was taken on film, or it was edited to look like it was taken on film. Either way, it looks fantastic. This is abstract art, and this looks pretty good too. Man, Zorin OS, always been one of my favorite systems out there. And also for their super cool functionality of just like trying to make you feel at home with Windows, and then you can also install most of your apps through Wine and Proton and whatever. So they just really try to make you feel at home with Zorin OS, people who are coming from Windows. So this is something which is really good, and I appreciate that. Okay, let's just stick to this wallpaper and we can move on. So you can multitask as well. You can enable hot corners or active screen edges, and you can have workspaces on primary display only, or you can have them span across all of your displays. And if you want to switch apps, you can include apps from all workspaces. I mean, these are sensible defaults, but if you want to change them, this is totally up to you. And we have enabled high performance mode, like I said. This is something which I believe the old laptop, it's going to help the old laptop push out a little bit more juice when I'm trying to make a video on it. So that's really cool. And I think that's it for settings, and talk about one of the most interesting and very, very cool parts of Zorin OS. So we're going to talk about Zorin Appearance this time around. This is Zorin OS Pro, something I have been waiting to experience for many, many years of making YouTube videos. Zorin OS Pro gives you a ton more UI experiences that you would not otherwise get on the mainline Zorin OS that is free for download for everybody. Okay, this is something that I have been waiting for many years, at least from 2021, and I'm so glad it's here. So let's just go through all of these because I'm super proud of what the team has done. So this is like a Windows XP style Zorin appearance. So you get the same old start menu, and you do get the app names alongside the app icons. That's pretty good. This, I believe, is a GNOME 3 style menu. So you get your show apps. And I mean, this is a little bit changed after GNOME 40. Then let's go to another one. If you press start, or if you just swipe up, you're going to have your workspaces over here and your dock at the bottom. This list looks like Fedora, and it just brings back so many memories of me using Ubuntu when I was in college, and it just brings back a lot of memories. You do get the familiar panel at the top, your activities at the left, and then again your accessibilities, language, and GNOME Control Center to the right. This is the one I was familiar with. Sorry, I mixed up, but it's okay. These are different themes, so you can pick and choose whatever you want to. So this one appears to have a dock at the bottom and a panel at the top. That's pretty good. A visible dock is something which I always love, even though if your display is not 16:9, a dock can eat up a little bit of that space, which otherwise you could have used, I don't know, to display a few more rows in Excel or other things. And it also has the trash icon, which I love. I believe this is the Papyrus icon set. I don't really remember. Again, let's move on to the next one. This is I think akin to the Windows 11 look. So you do get the panel, and this is stretching across the entire desktop. You do get the start button over here. Let's just make this go away just a little bit. Oh yeah, this is like the Windows 11 start menu, but to be honest, guys, it looks better than the Windows 11 start menu. And I use Windows 11 every day, okay? I can vouch for that. And then you do have another option to push the start menu to the left. Again, this is something which Windows 11 does. This is the typical Ubuntu desktop layout. So you do get the panel at the left. So they use something like dash to panel, I guess. And then you do have your apps over here, pretty much standard, and then panel at the top as well. So this is interesting. So it not only slims down the panel, I think it changes the start menu as well. So okay, so this only has your apps in a grouped fashion. It does not show your favorite folders or Zorin Appearance, Zorin Settings, and all that cool stuff. It just is a very, very, very simple start menu. And for those of you minimalists out there, I think this is a perfect choice. This is another one, Zorin Appearance. Guys, if this video is taking a little bit too long, skip around, but I believe you should never, especially in this video, because I am enjoying this a lot, and I think you guys are too. Again, you do get the dock at the bottom, but this time the apps are no longer there. They have moved to this Zorin menu, and they have accumulated over here. I believe this looks kind of like Elementary OS, although I couldn't be sure. I haven't used it in a long time. And then for the last two, you do get this. This is a very standard Windows 10-esque look, and I believe a lot of users are going to be just fine with it. They're not going to have complaints, and I think you're going to be absolutely fine with it. And then this is basically like Windows 11 look with the taskbar squished to make it look more like a dock, but not really a dock. So which one am I gonna pick for the video? I think we're gonna stick with the new Zorin OS theme that RTM and his team has designed for us, and I think that looks the best. So moving on to the theme, you do get Zorin, so you can change your accent color. You can make it green, you can make it yellow. I think yellow looks absolutely fantastic, and then again, you do also get the backgrounds changed as well. If you turn on dark mode, this is going to look even better. Oh yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Let's just go to purple. Let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, this is fantastic. Guys, I think I'm going to make the rest of the video in dark mode. So if you are with me on this one, just raise your hands. You can go to effects, so you can enable animations. You can enable jelly mode. If I enable jelly mode, this is really fun. Okay, let's just do this. Oh yeah, this this is amazing. Jelly mode. I love jelly mode. And with the beauty of having installed this on my bare metal system, I no longer have to deal with the jarring animations of a virtual machine. So I believe this is going to be a better visual experience for you guys. Now you can also change it to a spatial desktop. You can enable the desktop cube. So if you swipe up with 3 fingers, you are getting a beautiful cube, and it looks 3D, man. It looks amazing. It looks so good. And then you also want to switch up your spatial window switcher. So if you press Alt plus Tab like this, you're gonna get a beautiful 3D look. And then the good thing is they also mention the app name at the bottom, so that's pretty good. Oh, and by the way, since this was minimized, you do get the beautiful genie effect. So this is from macOS, and it looks really good. Man, they do take the best parts of macOS and Windows and make a very comprehensive operating system. I absolutely love that. Now inside desktop, you have your adjustments. So you can have it set to, you can have the wallpaper set to stretched, zoom, spanned, or centered. I mean, I think zoom is the best way you can disable or enable icons on the desktop. So like that, all the icons are gone, boom. You can change your icon sizes, and then you can also choose to have home, trash, mounted volumes, or network servers available. Moving on to Windows, you can have new window placement at the center. Window action key, this is the super button. You can change it to Alt, or you can disable it altogether, although I wouldn't know why you would do that. And you can also attach modal dialogues, and you can enable advanced window tiling. So you can also customize this, by the way. So if you click on this little gear icon, you can go into here, Zorin tiling shell, and you can show an indicator. You can change the inner gaps, the outer gaps, snap assist threshold, animations. You can customize the animations as well. You can change their timing. This is very in-depth, and you can go into their behavior. You can enable snap assistant, enable tiling system with control, tiling system deactivation keys, span multiple tiles, enable auto tiling, enable auto resize of the complementing tiled windows, restore window size, add snap assistant. There are a ton of options. And then again, for screen edges, you can drag windows against the top, left, and right to resize them. That's amazing. And then you do get a few options. You do get the quarter tiling activation area, edge tiling offset, and you do also get window suggestions, enable window suggestions for the tiling system, enable window suggestions for the snap assistant. All of these options are extremely in-depth, and I cannot believe how much effort they have made into this. So this is really cool. You do get different types of layouts. You can edit them, you can export and import them, and you can also, very importantly, reset them if you messed around. And you can also set your key bindings. They have set it to Super Plus, the directional keys by default, but you can change it if you wanted to. Not really recommended. I mean, not like you're going to use WASD, I guess. But if you want to, go ahead. And you can, of course, export, import, and reset the entire settings of the tiling cell. So this is actually really handy for people who have, I don't know, maybe messed up, or maybe they have made their changes, and then after a certain amount of time, they don't feel like they feel like they want to change it up a little bit. So that's where it comes handy. I have never seen a very sophisticated advanced window tiling, and that I really liked. Now you do also get tile bar buttons, so these are placed on the right. You can place them on the left like Mac OS, but I mean, even though I use Mac at my office every day, I personally prefer to have it over to the right. You can double click for toggling maximize. Middle click, you can set it to a host of options, like 3 options. And secondary click brings up the menu, or you can change it to 2 others. Moving on to focus, you can click on the window to focus, or otherwise you can hover for focus. So you click outside, you hover, and it gets focused. It's hard to see. I guess if I had 2 windows, it would be a little bit easier to tell. Let's just open this as well. Put it over here, and then you hover, and as you can see, this is in focus, this is in focus. It does not jump to the top, but it is in focus. I believe you do get an option for that as well. So raise window when focused. So there, the window is raised. I mean, we're going to change it back to click to focus because that's what I'm used to, and this is fine, I think, or we can disable that as well. And even if you disable that, by default, this is the normal experience. Coming to interface, you do get the left super key for the activities overview. You can change it to the Zorin menu. I believe I would put it to the Zorin menu. So if I press the super key on my laptop, this is going to activate the start menu. And then you can also display activities overview on startup, which I'm not going to do. Overlay scroll bars, screen, keyword, button, and panel, taskbar settings. I mean, there are a lot of settings over here. If you want to, you can go through them, but if you're going to go through them, it's going to take me an entire day. These are GNOME settings as well, so go through them if you want to. And then you also get dash settings if you enable the mode where you do get the dash over to the left. You can, I think, enable the dash settings, and you can customize them to your liking. And then you do get fonts. These are regular fonts, so interface text is interregular, monospace is JetBrains, document text is sans regular. Nothing really to talk about, but this is extremely cool. So we did talk a lot about Zorin appearance, so let's just go ahead and go into the software, and we're going to check how the software experience is. I am not connected to the internet, so it's going to show me my installed apps. I don't think it's going to be able to show me my updates. It says no connection, so not a whole lot to talk about here. Let's just go to Brave, and I think we can show you a few things. So you can see the screenshots. I mean, you can't right now, but there would be screenshots over here, and then you would have your installed size, permissions, if it's for desktop or tablet, or you do get an age rating, you get the version number along with the description, and you also get a few buttons to donate, to show some love to the community. This time you do get seamless integration with web apps. So if we just go to web apps and go to this, it's going to open up so you can add web apps. So what you could do is you can put a name, you can put a description, and you can put an address, something like Google Docs or Microsoft Office Online. You can easily put in the URL and it would just show up here, and then you could use it as your app. And you can even set icons, put the category, and also the browser that you would want to. For something, maybe you want Firefox, you can install Firefox and have it set to Firefox. For other things, maybe you prefer Brave, and then you could just go ahead and set that. So that's not really anything surprising. And then you do get isolated profile, and you can also enable or disable private or incognito window if you are if you maybe, I don't know, if you have a login on your normal computer and then you want to have a session where you don't have a particular login, for example, a Gmail login, you're going to want to enable that incognito window and then log in and do your stuff. Okay, so with that, web apps, really cool stuff. And let's move on with the tour. You do get OneDrive files integration this time around. So if we do open up settings and go to online accounts, you can see we do get Microsoft 365 plus OneDrive. So clicking on this, it would allow you to actually have OneDrive integration. So for many users, they're migrating from Windows, being able to access their files stored in the cloud is a key when making the switch. Okay, so this is why Zorin OS adds a OneDrive file integration to the built-in online accounts features. This is pretty good, where the users can seamlessly transfer the data and they're not going to feel left out. Like you get that jarring feeling when you move devices. when you move between devices, and you're not going to feel that, or at least it's going to be mitigated or minimized to a large extent with the protections, let's call it protections or features, that Zorin OS has put into itself. They did expand their built-in database to detect installer files for popular Windows apps, and now it supports over 170 apps. So this comes as a perfect segue to Microsoft 365 and OneDrive, and Zorin OS does give you a lot of options. So it does use Proton or Wine, and it gives you compatibility with a whole lot of apps that you otherwise would not have access to on Linux. Now, don't go talking about Adobe apps or something. They are very exclusive to the Windows area, and I don't think they want to bring it over to Linux. But you can find good alternatives, and if you really cannot live without Windows, then I guess you could dual boot for a few months. Maybe Microsoft would release some patches. Maybe in Europe, I think they have a plan to keep on releasing security updates for about another year or so. I'm not really sure, don't quote me on that, but if you are in Europe, you have that advantage, but for us in the rest of the world, we don't, so Linux is our way. Or you can also go ahead and buy Apple. That's not something that would be terrible. Buying a Mac OS machine in 2025, those Apple laptops are damn good, okay? If you want an Apple machine, you can buy an Apple machine, but if you want Linux, you can stay on Linux, and not everybody has the money to just go out and grab a new laptop as expensive as a MacBook, so being with Linux sometimes is your only choice, and sometimes you're going to have to live with it. You can learn alternatives like DaVinci Resolve, Krita, instead of using your Adobe apps or Adobe things like Premiere Pro. You can use OpenWord instead of Microsoft, so you can use Google Docs for collaborative stuff. So a lot of things are available if you are willing to put just a little bit of effort into that. So I believe it's not going to be that big of a hurdle. And with games being as good as they are in 2025, by that I meant the support for games in Linux through Proton is so good that you're not going to miss Windows a ton. Okay, now let's talk about a few of the newer apps that are included in Zorin OS 18 Pro. So this is a Pro version. If you do not have a Pro version, don't worry about it. You can skip it or you can still watch, but I think there are a few cool apps that are available here. So first is the Desk Flow. So Desk Flow lets you share your mouse and keyboard across computers to maximize your productivity. We're not going to check for updates. You can simply move the cursor to the edge of the screen to switch between the devices seamlessly. It even shares the clipboard, so that's very handy, so that you can copy text from one computer over to another. Switch things, copy paste things between documents or whatnot, and that's really good. So you do get file, edit, view. You can change your computer name, and you have to select a mode. Unfortunately, I only have one device, so I'm not able to show this to you guys. Feel free to go ahead and dig into it. It will continue to run in the background. It can be accessed via the Desk Flow icon. Okay, that's fine. I think we can quit it over here. So that stops the app altogether. And then you do also get another new app called Warp. And what it does, it allows you to securely send files to each other through your local network or the internet by simply exchanging a code. This strangely feels like Warpinator. This is a very good app, I believe. Oh, where's my cursor? There you go. Introduction. This is Warp. Get started using Warp. And you can send file, you can select a folder. This is incredibly handy and incredibly useful, by the way. Not a whole lot to talk about. You can just set your preferences over here, server URLs. You don't really have to mess around with a lot of these. You can just send and receive stuff if you're on the same network. The both of you are on the same network. A few other apps include Valo. So, these apps are cool, man. I'm experiencing Zorin OS Pro for the first time in my life, and I feel like this is a really cool operating system that could become my daily. Who knows? So welcome to Valo. Track your time efficiently and boost your productivity. Right click to select items. So this is a productivity management / kind of like a calendar places where you can manage all your freelancing gigs and whatnot. And I think this is an incredibly powerful app. It looks good, by the way. Let's change over to light mode for a quick second and we can see what it looks like. So again, this changed the theme so fast and it looks really good too. So it shows you summary statistics, active projects, total earnings, tracked tasks, and you do also get recent tasks, which of course, I mean, this is a new machine, and it shows you a chart of task reports with a weekly analysis for all the projects or all clients, where you can, I guess, click and choose your different projects, different clients, or different weeks of the year, or you can change it to month, year, or have a custom range. This, I believe, is incredibly helpful for a lot of people. And last but not least, you do also get easy effects. I made a video about easy effects a really long time ago, but this is an app which actually helps you to remove background noise. So if you live in an area, for example, I used to do that. I used to live in an area where there were constant honking. And in India, honking is a really, really bad thing. I used to get headaches and I couldn't record videos in peace. So I used to have a similar app, not this. So I was on Pulse Audio. Now this is for Pipewire. So you can use this app for your benefit to remove background unwanted noise. I'll leave a link below the like button if you want to go ahead and check out that video, but this is it overall. So I think with that, we come to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, reviewing Zorin OS in such a huge depth. And also, this is the Zorin OS Pro version, so getting to review this has been a blast, and I have thoroughly enjoyed all aspects of it. Now, when you are going into Zorin OS and installing different Linux apps, different Windows apps, sometimes it will suggest you a better Linux app, or sometimes it would ask you to run that Windows app through the translation layer, which is Proton, but sometimes your apps are not going to run. What you could do is look for alternatives, or go back to Windows. And I think if you can live your life with the alternatives, I think it is worth your time to invest in that, unless it's absolutely critical that you stick to the Windows app that you had. In that case, you would need a Windows machine. There is no going around that. But if you can avoid it, your old laptop will give you a lot of life. And I think overall, it would really, really help the planet to reduce the e-waste that is going to get produced. So with that, we come to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was my first video using a capture card, and I am so happy with the animations myself. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.